Welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for cpluscomedy.com. It's a website. Go there. Let's hop right into it today, guys. This is a very late record. Guys, as if there's anyone else other than me listening to this. This is a very late record. I was busy watching E3 stuff, Electronic Entertainment Expo. Two of those words I messed up. Electronic and Entertainment Expo. Coincidentally, it's also the same week that I did an episode of News Time about E3. It's not coincidentally. I did it on purpose. That's the reason. Here we are with the Constitutionals Podcast with a hot mic, me screaming into the mic because I don't know if I can hear because I'm using a different set of headphones. Also, I figured out the issue with Adobe crashing. I think I did. I don't know. I figured out one issue where I plug in my Blue Yeti microphone and Adobe would have trouble recognizing it. It's after this 2018 update. It has trouble recognizing it, and then it would just crash at the end of the record. Sometimes in the middle of record. Haven't had that in a while. Knock on wood that does not happen again. But it would crash. I figured out just now. Literally, I'm plugging in headphones, and the message pops up, and I go, "Oh, that's weird." Turns out it only pops up when I plug in headphones directly to the microphone. But I don't have a preamp. I don't have a mixer. And that's the only way I can hear myself. And you need to hear yourself when you record because that's how you get good sound. I listen to a lot of podcasts and that's how it happens. So I'll figure this out. I think I have to buy a mixer. I really just want to buy I do want to buy like a what is it? A Zoom H6 is what it's called. I'm gonna sniff right on the mic. All right, let's get into it. How to Train Your Dragon 3. There's a trailer that DreamWorks released. It is wonderful. It was such a moving trailer. It will put a cap at the end of the story of How to Train Your Dragon, and I can't wait. It looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful. They recap the first two movies in like 20 seconds. And then you see Hiccup. He's got a beard. Got a luscious beard. Looks more manly than Jay Baruchel could ever look. No offense to him. But then you see this movie, you see the trailer, and it looks good. All the Vikings are getting together with all the dragons. They're all getting along. And then DreamWorks pulls a move that they pull way too often in their movies, in which one character finds out that they're not the last one, or that they're only one of their kind, or that they find their family. In this movie, not Hiccup. What's his Night Fury called? Bud? What is his Night Fury called? I don't know. The Night Fury. I have watched this movie. I've seen the movies before. I don't understand why, and the TV. I watched a TV show. I don't understand why I'm not remembering his dragon's name. Regardless, the dragon finds out that it has. There's a white dragon. It's a girl dragon. I guarantee the end of this movie is going to have the dragon go off. The dragons go off together. Hiccup's not going to have a dragon, or he's going to get a new dragon. Kind of like how his dad did in the TV series. He got Skull Crusher before he died in How to Train Your Dragon 2. At the hands of the Night Fury. Why am I forgetting his name? Hiccup and Nightmare. Blastoise. Anyway, it's the trailer's still playing. If you want to know what I'm looking at right now, there's a lot of explosives, a lot of explosions. Like I said, the show, the movies, they all tie together. It's really good. You should watch it. Speaking of other trailers, there's a Dumbo trailer that came out this morning. First thing I did this morning before I went to the gym was watch the Dumbo trailer. And it looks good. Disney's doing a weird thing where they're making live action versions of their movies, and then we see that they're actually kind of decent. Like Beauty and the Beast, it's actually a really good retelling of the story, even though it's pretty much the same story beat for beat. But now this Dumbo thing looks great. I think Will Smith is in the Dumbo movie. I'm lying. He's in the Aladdin movie. He's the genie. Who's in the Dumbo movie? The Dumbo movie stars. No, well, this trailer's not telling me. I think Hugh Jackman. I might be lying. I might be thinking of The Greatest Showman, which I've yet to see. It's a couple of kids. Michael Keaton's there. He's the villain, I think. Danny DeVito is the ringmaster. Colin Farrell. He's the guy. It's him. It's about him and these two kids. Then that Christopher Robin trailer. Oh, gosh. I can't wait to see the movie. A lot of these movies are getting remade. I mean, except for the Christopher Robin one. That's brand new. That's a sequel of sorts, I guess, to all the adventures that Christopher Robin had with Pooh and Piglet, Tigger, Roo, Kanga, Owl, Rabbit, Eeyore, Heffalump. Pooh's Heffalump movie and Piglet's Big Movie are on Netflix. Didn't know that. Did not know that. I will watch them. Oh yeah. Also another thing is I started every so often. I think at least maybe every 2 years at this point. I always go back to the what is it? It is called Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue. It's like a 1990s, early 90s anti-drug PSA. It's a half-hour special where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, well, really Michelangelo, Mikey, the Muppet Babies, Gonzo, Piggy, and Kermit, Pooh Bear, Garfield, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Tigger, and I think Tigger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tigger. They all pop up and they help this kid who is doing drugs, who's smoking and drinking. Slimer's there. It's a really great PSA. Go look it up. It's on YouTube. And it's about this kid named Michael who starts smoking the cigarettes and then he takes a beer from his dad. Bugs Bunny's there. And then all the Alf. And then all of the cartoons try to show Michael that it is bad to smoke and drink. And Daffy Duck's there. It is the wildest 32 minutes. It's so wacky. There's barely a plot. And there's at least 2 or 3 songs, I think. I'm watching it right now.
I just saw myself. Man, I look great.
Alf is there. It's so weird. It's so strange. I really do think it's a great PSA. And George H. Bush. George H.W. Which one is it? George Bush, the first Bush president. He's there, and Martha as well. Martha Bush, is that her name? And they introduce it. I think. Oh, it is produced by McDonald's as well. And it is the end. Not the intent. It's exactly what you think a 90s PSA, anti-drugs PSA would be. And I love it. Go watch it. I urge you to do. This is something, and then the next thing I just put out is something that I want to talk about, but I put it on today's list, and it's very strange. E-scooters. So I ran into e-scooters when I was in California for the week, and then I came back, and then the week I was gone, they were introduced into New York. Where am I? Atlanta, and now e-scooters are everywhere. And apparently a lot of Atlantans hate them. I think they're fine. I just think we need to watch the dumb people, because the dumb people are the ones that are riding them in the streets, riding them on the opposite side of the road, not being, nice about it. But there's a New York Times article written by Kevin Roos, who was in Santa Monica, California, and he was talking about e-scooters, talking about the dangers of them, talking about why they're here, how they popped up, gave a history. Apparently Bird, the company that has these e-scooters, if you don't know what e-scooters are electronic scooters that you can park them anywhere. You go up on not the middle of the street. You go onto the sidewalk, you see a scooter, you scan a QR code, and then that unlocks the scooter. And for every minute that you're on the scooter, you pay 15 cents to ride the scooter. Every minute. And it's a really cool way to get around. They have these electric bikes, but the issue is that there are people that are jerks, and front and center, they're jerks. And they take the scooters, they put them in the streets. If the battery's dying, the battery beeps loudly, and it's annoying, and it just keeps going. They don't know how to ride them. They're riding them in the middle of the street, going opposite direction, like I said before. And Bird, the company Bird is doing this without letting the cities know. Sometimes they just show up and they just drop 100 or so scooters in the middle of the city, and then they say, go, be free. So apparently they paid $300,000 in fines and other fees to settle a legal dispute with Santa Monica after the city sued it for operating without a proper license last year. Denver recently ordered Bird and Lime Bike is another e-scooter thing, to remove their scooters, and Nashville and other cities have begun seizing the scooters from the streets. And then you can click and see that people are throwing the scooters. I get that they're annoying, and I get that they're cluttering up the sidewalks. First of all, Atlanta sidewalks are terrible. There's someone in a wheelchair. I think I'm butchering this story, but there are handicapped people who can't use Atlanta sidewalks because they're so crappy. And I think that somebody's suing the city to handle it. But the city, of course, won't handle it. Just like how Domino's is paving roads, not paving roads. They're they're filling up potholes and putting their name on the pizzas. Wait, what? They're filling up potholes and they're putting their names on it. And it says Domino's. Yes, we did, or something like that. Or like, we sure did. Something stupid. I think that's a good idea. And I want to nominate them to come to Atlanta. But there's so many potholes that they just cover with metal plates. How is that? There's so many metal plates around the city, even in where I live in the suburbs. Okay, so he wrote a list. Scooter. So he is basically saying that opponents of e-scooters typically make three major claims, but as I learned during my experiment in California, none of those arguments hold particularly well under scrutiny. He said scooters are a public safety hazard. That's what anti-scooter activists say. That's true. They would be safer if helmet laws were better enforced. But you gotta know you gotta ride in the bike lane or ride in the sidewalk. I think in San Jose, you're supposed to ride on the bike lane. I rode in the sidewalk the one time I did it. I didn't know. Scooters are cluttering out sidewalks, roads, and other public places. It's true that is happening, but there's a bunch of people who can make money with by charging these Bird scooters at home. People can make apparently a couple $100, which is what I should do because I have less than that. Also, scooters are a solution for that would be just have a designated place to put Bird scooters at the edge of a sidewalk near a bus stop, something like that. Also, scooters are annoying symbols of tech world elitism. No, they're not. I don't believe that. That's stupid. I'm done with this article. I read this last week. I'm done with that. You see, but I think e-scooters are a really great way for not a community, but for someone to get around. If I'm only going a few blocks and it's hot, I don't want to walk. I don't want to ride the bus. I don't want to pay for an Uber. Then I'm going to get an e-scooter and I'm going to pay the $1 to start, the 15 cents per minute to ride. I like to pay the $3 it'll take me to get 5 blocks. I think that's fine. Or just to have fun. But in Atlanta, you're not supposed to. There's a thing called the belt line, and it's essentially Jesus. I know Hulu renews this Sunday. I have a calendar updates for when my bills are due, and they come days ahead of time, which is wonderful, simultaneously wonderful and annoying. And I set up several reminders for each one. So Hulu popped up today, and it's supposed to. Today's Wednesday. It's supposed to renew on Sunday. So that means it's going to pop up again on Friday or Saturday. One of those days. I forget how often I do it. Anyway, what was I saying? E-scooters. I think e-scooters are great though. But the belt line. So the belt line, you're not supposed to ride it on the belt line. Belt line is this long concrete trail that connects a lot of Atlanta. A lot of Atlanta. I would say. I was going to say gentrified areas of Atlanta, but yeah, a lot of Atlanta, which is basically Atlanta now. And it's a really cool place to run or walk or stuff and ride bikes. Ride bikes. Keyword, ride bikes. Not e-scooters. But people ride the e-scooters there anyway. And cops aren't going to stop you. No one's going to stop you. You're just going to annoy people. You're not supposed to ride on there. I think it's fine. And they do have bells and you can control the speed. I think e-scooters are great. They're a great way to get around. I'm going to go ahead and move on because I will go off on a tangent. I can feel it coming on. You know when you can feel yourself when you're talking to somebody and you can feel yourself. You can feel yourself go like about to hit a tangent. That's what I'm feeling right now, and because I'm about to get angry. I want to talk about E3. E3 is so great and wonderful. All the conferences this year were fantastic. Microsoft blew it out of the water. I think Nintendo did a really great job. They had 25 minutes dedicated to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's what the new Super Smash Bros. Is. I cannot believe that's what's happening. And PlayStation was different this year. The first part was held at a church, and then they moved everybody mid-conference into the theater. They did maybe 15 minutes in the church. They did 5 minutes of this guy playing this song on a banjo. And then they did Last of Us. Of course, you've already seen this. Last of Us Part 2. And then they said, okay, everybody get up. We're going to go on to the second part of the experience. And then that part was like an hour. It was very strange. It was very, very, very strange. Not to say it wasn't good. It was all right. Everybody wants to rally behind Sony. They think PlayStation is the greatest console ever. Me being a guy who doesn't know how to manage money and owning all three of the consoles, I think they're fine. I think everyone is fine. I wish I played my Switch more. I use the Xbox mostly because it's hooked up to the TV, and I don't have time to play games. And I hate to be that person, but I love them all. I'm slowly making my way through Detroit, which I haven't touched since Sunday. It's a great game. I love it. Sony, they showed some more of the Spider-Man gameplay. I was not sold on that game until yesterday or 2 days ago when I saw the Spider-Man gameplay, the open world stuff. The Fortnite's on Nintendo Switch. I downloaded it. I did not play a match because I could not get in, but it looks great. It looks great on the Switch. It really does. I cannot wait to only play that game once because I've only done 2 Fortnite matches. One for when I was testing out Fortnite, and then another one for when I was shooting something for news time that came out this week. I've only played Fortnite twice. Every time I go on Xbox, every time I turn on my Xbox, I look at my friends list. At least one person is playing it. At least one person, but I'm glad it's out. I mean, it's a good game. It really is. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is so great. It's got 65 characters, every single character from every Smash Bros. I'm saying this with a smile on my face. That is the greatest thing that could ever happen. There's a new Super Mario Party. I hope there's a story mode in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because there was in the Nintendo Wii one, but in the Wii U version, they took it out. Even though I think the Wii U version is really good. I'm very surprised that Mega Man, Sonic, and Snake and Pac-Man are still in the game. And Bomberman's in the game, but he's not a fighter. He's an assist trophy. I think he's an assist trophy. I'm pretty sure he is. So great. It's so great. Let's see. New Donk City. I'm going to keep talking about Super Smash Bros. New Donk City is a stage, apparently, and from Super Mario Odyssey, which is another fantastic game. If they ever do DLC for that game, I will buy it. I will buy it. Because that's the last game I played on the Switch. I can't get further in Golf Story. I'm stuck somewhere in Golf Story. It won't let me advance. And I just don't care enough. I wanted that game so badly. Then I get not even a third, like a quarter of a third of the way through, and I'm blocked. And I've looked at all the walkthroughs and I can't figure it out. I mean, I can figure it out, but I missed something and it won't let me go back. Overcooked 2 was announced. I never played the first one, but I guess I will now. Overcooked 2. And let's see what else is going on. I just want to talk more about Smash. I've never been a fan of Last of Us. I think it's because it's the last game I ever watched somebody play, but I watched this guy named Rad Brad on YouTube play it. And I was already subscribed to him, and I watched him play it. And then, years have passed, and I just don't. It's always been on sale. I think it was free on PlayStation at some point. No, it wasn't. It's always been on sale, but I know the cheapest has been like $5, and I just don't care enough to buy it. Also, it's a horror game, so I'm not good with horror games. I love horror movies. I can be in a horror situation and survive. I'll be the only black person to survive. But man, oh man, am I not good at horror games. I think it's because you're experiencing it. Another thing is Ghost of Tsushima looks great. It's a samurai game that looks kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum. No, Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Knight, but with samurais. And I say that, I mean, like, it's one-on-one fighting. You know, it looks nothing like Batman Arkham Knight, really. Speaking of which, there's rumors of a Rocksteady Superman game. And E3 is there's at least 2 more days in E3, counting today, I believe. So I need to see that. If it exists, I need to see it. Let's see what else. Resident Evil 2 was announced. Death Stranding, we saw a gameplay of it, like a long trailer gameplay of it. That's the Hideo Kojima's new game after he was ousted from his own company. And Konami sucks. But I think it looks, I was never, again, that's another game I wasn't sold on. I'm sold on it now. I think it looks cool. It's another horror game. I will not touch it. It looks like something that's going to be scaring me. But apparently you can die multiple times. You grow a baby in your stomach as a man. You're Norman Reedus. And there's scary ghost men that come out at night. You are a mailman who delivers things across worlds. Like, you can deliver people. There's like a body on the back of his bag. It's really hard to explain. Just go watch the trailer. Cyberpunk 2077 is a new game from CD Projekt Red, the creators of The Witcher. And it's we didn't see any gameplay, but we saw the trailer. It's a first-person game. I read a bunch of details on Game Informer. It's a first-person game that's an RPG. It's an RPG with shooter elements, apparently. It looks really cool. I would like to see gameplay from it, though. I don't even know what's coming out. Details compilation. There's a Cyberpunk 2077 detail. There's full frontal nudity in the game, and you can take NPCs home for one-night stands. Nice. I'll be doing that. You can slide under cars and take cover like any other game. There's bullet time like ability that allows you to slow down time. I hope that game's good. And then there's a remake of the Catherine game, Catherine Full Body. I don't know. I mean, I have that on Xbox. I have the first one on Xbox One, the original. But apparently, like, there's like a new story arc, and there's a lot of different stuff. There's new stuff in that game. What else is new? I'm on the subreddits. Oh, Paladins is another free-to-play game that's live on Switch, except it's only the paid version right now. It'll be free at some point, I hope. I can't believe Ridley is a playable character in Super Smash Brothers. Man, that's insane. Forza Horizon 4 is going to have 450 cars. 450 cars. I can't even name 10 cars. Let's go. Ford Taurus. Chevy Volt. That's what I drive. Tesla. Mercedes-Benz, Ford Edge, Nissan Pathfinder, Nissan Leaf, Toyota Camry, Bentley truck, Escalade, Yukon, Denali. That feels like 10. There's also a game, Division 2 apparently is going to come out. We all knew that. There's also a game called Jump Force where it's a bunch of anime characters fighting each other. I'm only going to come for the Dragon Ball Z, and I will stay for the Dragon Ball Z. Speaking of which, Dragon Ball Z Fighters is going to be on Switch. I just can't wait to play Fortnite on Switch at some point. Once, and then never touch it again. Fallout 76 is apparently not a massively multiplayer online game, but there's no NPCs like the other Fallout games. Speaking of, there's it's open world. You know, it's regular Fallout, but with online. It's online Fallout essentially. Speaking of which, Fallout 4 is on Game Pass. Game Pass is $1 if you're not subscribed to it during E3 from Microsoft for $1 for a month, and then you can get 6 months for $30 via Amazon, Walmart, or Microsoft. I think I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do it because I gotta finish Gears of War 4. Halo Infinite. It looks like it's an open world Halo game. Don't quote me on that. Devil May Cry 5. Man, so many good games. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I have yet to play Assassin's Creed, the newest one, Origins. There's just so many great games coming out. There's so much TV, so many movies, so many restaurants I want to try. There's so many things I want to do. I really wish here's my thing. I hate wearing uniforms. I don't want to wear a shirt and tie to a job. Even though I love wearing a shirt and tie. Oh my God. I love doing what I do, which is being able to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, go to the gym, come home, hang out for a few hours, and be able to go to work. But I hate the work I do. I wish I was getting paid to write or to edit or to produce or whatever, so that I could go try out some great things, great foods, go travel, go see the world, go see great cities. I want to go to Austin. I want to go to other places in California, Colorado, Nolens. You want to hear here's my it's so stupid. I hate this so much. Here is my New Orleans impression, and it gets worse and worse as it goes. You can go down and get to New Orleans. You want to get you gonna get some beignets, some poutons. I love it. I love doing that because it's not funny. Anytime I hear something or watch something that mentions New Orleans in the slightest. Like Preacher. I just finished Preacher season 2, finally. I'd seen the first 9 episodes, and then I hadn't seen episode 10 and it's been a year, and finally it was on Hulu. Speaking of things I just started watching, Taxi. Taxi's really good. It's a James L. Brooks show. I forgot who else created it, but Tony Danza's on it, Danny DeVito, Judd Hirsch, a bunch of other really great, funny people. As a precursor to Cheers, I think Cheers really developed its formula from there, because Cheers takes place mostly in the bar, but when they go off to places, they really go off to places and do it up. And Taxi takes place mostly in the taxi place. The taxi hall is what I want to call it, where they keep all the taxis. It's great. A lot, and I don't want to say high concept because this term didn't exist back then, but I think there's a lot of the stories take place in the one area, and it's really just one story. There's no A-B plot. It's just that one story, and they squeeze as much as they can. And I think a lot of shows should really try to adopt that now. Try to take one plot and see if you can squeeze as much as you can out of there. And I understand that TV has evolved and people are different nowadays, and our attention spans are, if you try to focus on one thing, it's just going to be tough. But it could really work. That's why I was listening to a podcast, and I think it was Colin Hanks was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. Speaking of which, everybody has a podcast. I subscribe to, I think, 10 more podcasts, which brings me up to about 105, I think. Yeah, 105. I'm at 105 podcasts right now. I'm going to do a purge in a couple of days. Just give me a second, maybe a week, just to see who I want to keep. But I subscribed to, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and parse these out. I subscribed. These are the new podcasts I just subscribed to. Crazy Genius from The Atlantic, Armchair Expert Dax Shepard, the Future Bachelor. I didn't want to explain it. Inside of You, Michael Rosenbaum. Let's see, Obscure, Michael Ian Black, where he just reads a book. It's weird. I can't really explain that. Off Camera, Sam Jones. Let's see, Made in America with Basim Youssef. There's a podcast called Talking Simpsons. Talking Simpsons. It's called Talking Simpsons, which is really great if you're a Simpsons fan. They're watching each episode and having like a 2-hour discussion on it. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. Bob Mackey and Henry Gilbert. They're on season. What season are they on right now? Today's episode just released was 22 shorts about Springfield. I think that might be season 6 or 7, something like that. The Book Review by New York Times. Film Riot Podcast. from this YouTube channel that I've only seen once in passing, and it's a good YouTube channel. TV Campfire, which is an ATX Television Festival podcast, in which creators of TV shows sit down and talk about a topic. UCB Sports and Leisure. Unspooled. UCB Sports and Leisure is Matt Walsh and Scott Armstrong investigate biggest names and characters in comedy to bring you the biggest stories in sports and an in-depth look at the wide world of leisure. Unspooled, which is the opposite of Paul Scheer's show, How Did This Get Made? It's Paul Scheer and Amy Nicholson go over the AFI's top 100 movies, watch them one by one. What a Cartoon. This is why I mentioned the Talking Simpsons podcast. It's What a Cartoon is this from the same guys from Talking Simpsons, Henry Gilbert and Bob Mackey, but this time they're watching one episode of a cartoon show and discussing that cartoon show in its entirety. So this week's episode is Home Movies. They watched Home Movies, the episode The Party, or last week's episode Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and they watched the episode $20.01. They're both really great shows. I urge you to watch it. And Yo, Is This Racist? With Andrew T. and new co-host Tawny Newsome, where white people get to call in and ask if something they experienced or said or had the friend say or saw, if it was racist. Oh, and then also The Atlantic Interview, which is a interview show by The Atlantic. That's a lot of new podcasts. Every single person in the world has a podcast, and this is why it's so hard to stand out. It's insane. So I'll do a purge at some point, but I enjoy listening to podcasts. Anyway, Colin Hanks was talking about to Michael Rosenbaum how kids are, since Friends is on Netflix now, kids are watching. Like young kids who weren't alive for Friends, like at all, period, are now watching Friends, and they're doing the catchphrases and stuff. And he said that he saw a bunch of kids doing the catchphrases to his kids who were like 7 and 10 or something like that. I don't know the ages. I don't care. I think it's crazy. I think it's insane. And I'm doing the same thing by watching Cheers. Actually, Cheers was on when I was young, but I'm doing the same thing when I'm watching Cheers and Taxi. And Taxi's great. It's really good. Although there are a bunch of episodes that are not on Hulu. Like it'll go from season 1, episode 1 to episode 3 to episode 5, and then go 6, 7, 8, and then 10. It's very crazy. You're missing a lot of episodes. But I'm getting the gist of it. There's no overarching plot from what I've read on Wikipedia. All right, anyway, I got to go. If you like this podcast, why don't you subscribe? What do I say? I almost cursed. And this is a clean podcast. What do I say? If you like this podcast, you can head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's stuff over there. I don't really do anything in that stupid website anymore. One day I will. I just don't have the time. You can follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/C+. I promise I will do something with cpluscomedy.com. I don't want to do news anymore. Reviews are hard, and I can barely get interviews anymore. So maybe it'll just be interviews, news time, the podcast, and I'll do something else. I'll figure it out. Go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/C+comedy, or go to cpluscomedy.com where you can watch all the episodes and watch News Time. It's a premiere show for C+ Comedy. This is a tired guy doing tired things. I gotta go to work in 20 minutes. So do that. It's a good show. I enjoy doing it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fun. I'm going to say fun. This week's episode, like I said earlier, is about E3, the Entertainment Expo, Electronic Entertainment Expo, talking about video games and stuff. And talking about how much money E3 brings into the city, which it's a lot of money. It's millions and millions of dollars, like tens of millions of dollars, 25 million to be exact, for years ago. So that's more. 68,000 people came last year, and they're still selling public tickets apparently. I just heard on the Jive Bomb podcast this morning that they were still selling public tickets a week before E3 started. Insane. So go ahead, watch it. It's a good episode of News Time. Next week's episode has been planned. It's got to get written at some point because this one got done at the last second because I'm in the process of moving. So it's very difficult to plan these things. Okay. All right. That's it. Bye.